Your Highness, you still have scars on your back. It does you no good to languish in pain. I will procure some medicine.
No, it is fine. Though they are still deep, these are from 9 years ago. They do not hurt any longer. And besides, it would be a shame if the scars I got from protecting you were to fade. I bear these scars proudly. It makes me think that it was worthwhile that someone like me survived.
To hear you say such things.
Dedu, you say that I saved you. But do you know that you also saved me that day? If I had been unable to save anyone, I would have been the sole survivor. I would have had no reason, but I saved someone. Saved you. That and that alone has always been my crutch.
When I stood before those soldiers and their swords that day, I was prepared to die. But then, you suddenly appeared, and you shielded me. I knew then that a savior's hand could reach into even the deepest darkness. I still have not been able to repay that debt.
Have you not heard a word I've said? You have saved me in countless ways. 5 years ago, I did nothing but await my execution within my jail cell. Was it not you that saved me?
That was nothing more than my duty as your vassal.
Listen, Dedu, perhaps you consider me to be someone special, but I think the same of you. You are irreplaceable, cherished. So stop saying that we cannot be friends. Stop saying such awful things.
Please, do not look at me that way. You promised me you would build a kingdom that is proud to boast of Duscar blood. In this kingdom, where there is no distinction between the people of Duscar and the people of Fodlan, will I finally, without reservation, be able to call you my friend. Will I, Dimitri?
Dedu. Yes, you will call me your friend again and again, no matter how many hardships I must endure.
I will do all I can to bring about that world as well. To be your friend is what I have always wanted.
Is that so? I am glad to hear it.
But until that time, we must allow no harm to befall you. So please call upon me when you walk alone at night. And even when you go out in the day, please tell me where you are going and whom you are meeting.
In the end, I suppose there is no fixing your overprotectiveness. I suppose I can live with that.
I have a question for you. Answer quickly before my hand slips and I cut you in half.
Always so ominous. Well, what is it, Felix?
Sometimes you have an animal's face, contorted with anger and bloodlust. At other times, a man's with a friendly smile. Which is your true face?
Do not waste your breath on questions with such obvious answers. They are both the real me. My father, my friends, Glenn. They all meant a great deal to me, and they were all brutally slaughtered. I alone survived. If I do not shoulder the anguish and regret they must have felt, who will?
So that's how you justify your atrocities.
What do you mean?
I will fulfill my duty to the late king. My old man used to say that over and over like a mantra. How nauseating. No one seems to understand. The dead won't acknowledge your loyalty. They don't care. What a load of bunk it is, pretending to serve a corpse. You're serving your own ego.
You are wrong.
No, I'm not. The dead are dead. The living are living. You have to respect that boundary. If you keep stringing gravestones around your neck, you'll snap.
Even still, I cannot forget them, nor can I let them go.
Then keep those thoughts to yourself. If you're too weak to do that, abandon your throne. Become a gravekeeper.
Felix.
I'm not immune to emotion, you know. Far from it. I haven't gone a day without questioning why my father and brother had to die, while I survived. I'll bear this pain until the day I die, but I refuse to wallow in it. I have more important things to do than blubber for my whole life.
You know, Felix, you really are growing more and more like your brother. Always so sarcastic and constantly looking for a fight. But deep inside, more than anyone, you
What are you getting at?
Oh, it's nothing. But allow me to thank you. Your perspective has opened my eyes.
Not my intention. I couldn't stand the pathetic look on your face, that's all.
I see. If you say so, then we will leave it at that.
Good evening, Dimitri. Have you come to pray?
Something like that. And you?
Oh yes, that's why I'm here. I love how calm and peaceful the cathedral is this late at night.
It really is.
Coming here on a quiet night always makes me think of those who aren't with us anymore. We've lost so many in this war, too many to count. I hope they all get to live in eternal happiness at the goddess's side. These prayers are all I have to offer.
You are a kind soul, Mercedes.
I think you're kind too, Dimitri. Sometimes to a fault.
Kind? Me? No, not at all.
But why do you kill? For the sake of your loved ones? Those who have passed? Real monsters kill for selfish reasons. They're incapable of expressing sorrow when they kill. So please, don't call yourself a monster.
Mercedes, I am scared. So scared that I will forget their faces. The people who have died. Who I have killed. I cannot let myself forget them. I know that, and yet, whatever my feelings, it is all the act of a monster.
It's sad, but the truth is that people forget. You may be afraid to forget your past, but you'll never be able to revisit it. Living in the present is the best we can do. We owe it to those who can't come back.
If someone had said those words to me 5 years ago, I would be a different man today.
What do you want to do now, Dimitri? Continue fighting for those who have died? Not as a king, but as my classmate. What do you want to do?
My own dreams. I have never given it any thought. What about you?
I want to keep sewing and training with you, even after you've become king. I want to be your friend.
But I have no right to stand beside you.
Please, I can't hear any more of this self-deprecation. I just want to be by your side.
Mercedes, I want the same thing. If you allow it, I wish to stay by your side.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who feels that way. Let's spend a little more time here together. Just the two.
Your Highness, I have one more favor to ask.
Is this about Gustav again? I have plenty more stories about him, but perhaps it is time for you to speak with him yourself.
Oh, it's not about Father this time. This time I wanted to ask about you.
About me?
I mean, I heard all about Father last time, but I didn't ask about you.
Ah, well, I'm afraid there is not much of interest for me to tell you.
Oh, it doesn't have to be funny or interesting. That's not why I'm asking. It's just that I thought I already knew you, but I'm not sure I really do. That day when we were reunited at the monastery, I didn't know what to say to you. So I wanted to prepare some of your favorite food. I thought maybe if you ate something that you liked, you'd cheer up a little. But when I got to the kitchen, I realized I didn't even know what you like to eat.
I see. Well, it's a little hard to say what my favorite is. I just don't really have any strong feelings about food. That said, you're pretty keen on sweet things, right, Annette?
Yes, that's right. I'm at my happiest when I'm digging into a sweet treat. Oh, did you know there's a famous sweet shop in the capital?
Yes. It often had long lines outside, didn't it? The castle guards often spoke of it.
The sweets were so good. They cost a fortune, but I loved them. When Father was still around, we all lived as a family in the capital. Since then, I've had them only a few times. How I'd love to taste them again.
Say, Annette, when this war is over, where will you go? I heard that you were close to Baron Dominic back in the academy days.
That's right. But that's not where I think I'd like to go when all of this is over. I reconnected with Father, so I'd like to live with my family again, in the capital. Also, if I'm in the capital, I'll be able to see you from time to time, right?
Ah, that settles it then. We'll have to get your father working twice as hard.
Father's at a ripe old age now. I'd appreciate it if you didn't work him too hard.
Oh, of course. I will keep that in mind. Finally, you score a point against me on the ground. You have improved, Ingrid.
That was nothing more than a fluke. My technique was horribly sloppy that last round.
It does not matter what sort of technique it was. You won. If this had been a real battle, I would be dead. You wielded your lance well, without any hesitation. Has your approach changed?
You may recall when I said I'm now able to move on, because of you.
I remember. What did you mean by it?
That I finally understand a truth about Glenn. It sounds as though he died with a heavy heart. A heart that carried regret. I had suspected as much. But instead of acknowledging it, I twisted my memory of him to fit an ideal I've been upholding.
I see.
Your Highness, I will not sacrifice my life for anyone. But perhaps instead, I can live my life for someone. I will pledge my life to you.
And how exactly am I meant to interpret that?
However you please, Your Highness.
Oh? Well then. Ingrid, when this is all over, I want you to support and defend me. As my knight. I have been thinking of telling you this for a long time. We get along well, you and I.
As your knight? Yes, yes, of course. Of course I will. I intended to do so for the sake of the kingdom. Together, Your Highness. You and I. Our first order of business. Putting this tragic war to an end.
Yes. And while we're at it, do not die on me, Ingrid. Promise me that.
Yes, Your Highness. I swear it on my lance.
Spared again.
So it would seem. I told you that you were extraordinarily lucky.
Sometimes I think that must be true. But why me? Is this the goddess's way of telling me to make something of myself? There are so many others who are much more deserving of life.
I often think the same of myself, especially after battles where many lives were lost. But I must go on living. I cannot give in to death so readily. It is my duty to atone for my sins, and to pay for the lives I've taken. I suppose that must be why the goddess allows me to live on.
Is there a reason she allows me to live?
Only you can know that. But I believe there is a reason. Marianne, life is difficult.
It is a burden. It feels terrible to continue standing when so many others had to fall.
If that is so, then carry on as you are. There is no need for you to force yourself to smile as your soul bleeds. But please, whatever you do, do not give up on yourself or your precious life.
What do you mean?
If you were to die, I would be devastated.
You never have been easy to read.
Is that so?
Everyone says that I need to cheer up. But you may be the first person to tell me not to. Your life must also be difficult for you to understand my position.
So it is. I often feel I am not strong enough to live it.
I think our difficulties have brought us closer together.
Do you?
Absolutely. Please, Dimitri, promise you'll live through this war and long after. I don't know what I'd do with myself if we lost you.
As long as you are carrying on, I have yet another reason to carry on myself. I promise to the goddess of Fodlan that I will never give you cause to despair.
Up this late practicing with your lance, are you?
And what about you? Have you got something on your mind again? You really should go to bed. It is chilly out, and you could catch cold. What's the matter? Have you been having nightmares?
Well, in a certain sense, yes. Can you spare a moment?
Of course.
Thank you. I want to apologize to you. When last we spoke, I mishandled the situation.
Your words that night touched me deeply. It felt as though I had been punched in the gut. But more importantly, I think I owe you an apology. I lied to you.
You did?
Do you recall when I ate that meal you cooked and I told you it was delicious? The truth is that no matter what I eat, I can scarcely taste it. I have not had my sense of taste for 9 years now.
My cooking certainly is not something people often compliment me on.
I am sorry. When I said the food was good, I was just saying what I thought you would want to hear.
An apology is not necessary. You were only trying to be kind, after all.
In the end, I am not sure it was kind.
Just the same, it was nice to hear. Oh, hey! I have an idea! What if you sampled some really pungent food? Or something extremely spicy? Maybe that would...
Flame.
Yes?
I like your cooking. I cannot taste it properly, but in my book, it is truly delicious.
No need for the flattery. Anyhow, maybe someday you will get your taste back. I hope then you will be able to compliment me sincerely about my cooking.
Gustav, it has been 8 years since I last called you by that name.
Your Highness, I must deeply apologize for leaving the kingdom without permission.
There is no need to explain, old friend. I can guess at your reasons. The tragedy of Duscur. You felt responsible for that incident and sought respite in the goddess, abandoning your name, rank, and homeland in repentance. Am I right?
I have no excuses to offer. It was all I could think to do.
I always knew you for a pious man, and I figured that if you were to leave, this is where you would end up. You have changed much. Your face does not have the same resolve it once did.
If I may, Your Highness, you have changed as well.
I can't disagree.
It was my duty to protect His Majesty, your father. Naturally, that also included Lady Patricia and yourself as well.
My father and mother are gone. No amount of regret will bring them back.
My dreams are haunted by the thought that, had I arrived at Duscur more swiftly...
You saved my life at Duscur. I have only gratitude for you, no blame to speak of. I wish for you to remain in the kingdom, Gustav, even after this conflict is over. I need your strength to help rebuild the ravaged land that Fargus has become.
Please, I beg your forgiveness, but there is no place left for me in that land.
I see. Though much has changed, your stubbornness remains. I have no desire to trouble you. If you do not wish to return, that is your choice to make. But I do advise you to at least visit the place of your birth, if only for your family's sake.
Yes, Your Highness. Thank you. I appreciate your concern.
That was delicious. Wow, I'm full. Nothing beats a big meal after a training session. Okay, what's up? You seem distracted.
Oh, my apologies, Catherine. I was just wondering whether you had any desire to return to Fargus.
No, I haven't even entertained the idea. My loyalty lies elsewhere. No matter what, I'm going to find Lady Rhea. That's what I'm fighting for.
May I ask why you have devoted yourself to Lady Rhea?
It's simple. I adore her. Lady Rhea isn't just kind, but strong and courageous. I think she's a wonderful, beautiful person. More so than anyone else in the world.
Wow. I'm not sure I can compete with that.
You can't. My reluctance to return to Fargus isn't about you, though. Ever since I met Lady Rhea, going back just hasn't been an option.
That is a shame. I am certain Fargus could use your help in the near future. House Karen is one of the most sterling noble families after Fraldarius and Gautier. It would be reassuring to know that you had taken up your position as head of that house. Is something wrong?
You need someone who's like me, but more noble. You're so stern and serious all the time. Sorry, I'm not going back. Besides, my father is alive and well, fulfilling the duties of House Karen. I have plenty of capable brothers and sisters who can take over after him. I'll keep serving Lady Rhea here, and you'll bring the kingdom together at the capital. We have to direct our talents wherever they're most useful and most needed, right?
Well,
Anyway, early day tomorrow. Don't want to stay up too late. You better go to bed.
Marianne, are you not going to pray?
I finished. What is it?
I just wanted to apologize.
It's fine, Ferdinand. You did nothing wrong.
Last time we spoke, I did not quite finish saying what I wanted to say. You say I did nothing wrong, so perhaps you will hear me out this time?
Very well. What is it?
Rather than mourning the way things are, is it not better to accept reality and move forward from there?
Accept and move forward?
Precisely. You curse your heritage and reject your present situation. That makes you gloomy. As long as you are held back by that way of thinking, nothing is ever going to change.
What about you? Do you really believe that you accept whatever comes in life?
I do. Come what may, I will never falter.
How?
Well, each person is born with a purpose. We must fulfill that purpose, no matter our circumstances. It imbues our lives with meaning and direction. That is what I believe, anyway. Everyone has something they are meant to accomplish. That is true for nobles, commoners, even bandits.
I see. So that's what you believe. Do you really think it's possible that someone like me has a purpose to fulfill?
Yes, of course.
Oh, I'll give this some serious thought. Thank you, Ferdinand. Your words have deeply moved me.
Is that so? How wonderful.
believe it, Professor? Dimitri actually apologized to me. Remember that awful business between him and my Uncle Randolph? He just came by and said he was sorry for all that. That was behind us as far as I was concerned. It seems like he's changed for the better.
Hey,
Really? It's always so peaceful coming back here. But it's hard to relax knowing we have to go out on another expedition against... And now we're headed to the kingdom? That sounds hard. Oh, really hard, don't you think? Of course you'd say that. Why'd I even ask?
Unbelievable.
I'm relieved the prince seems to have finally come to his senses. Though it's a real shame that Lord Rodrigue passed away. It really is. But now, I think we're starting to see a sliver of hope for the...
Unbelievable.
Maybe.
Here's my thought.
The fish in this pond get fed every day. So they're swimming all lazy and serene, but the only reason they're kept here is so that they can one day be used for food. But the fish don't know that, so they just swim around happily. It's a bit of a miserable thought. But aren't soldiers much the same?
Hi there!
Professor?
Greetings, Professor. Nothing to report. FE3H is a city with a long history that goes back to before Fargus gained its independence. I'd like to visit that place at least once before I die. But I'm afraid I have my own work to attend to. It's hard being so dedicated. Ah, well. I'll go there for some leisurely sightseeing once Fodlan knows peace. Hello!
Will this one? It will this one. It will this one. It will this one. It will this one do. It's all. Tell your friends.
Hey!
Right.
Professor?
If you manage to take back FE3H, it'll make it a bit easier for us to do business. Taxes in the Fargus Dukedom are ridiculously high. Makes it hard to even think about trading. That Cornelia woman. What does she use that ample tax money for anyway? From the Empire's perspective, I suppose it makes sense to squeeze the former kingdom territories for all they're worth. But if they throw those territories into total ruin, doesn't that defeat...
Professor?
So we're turning around and heading for the kingdom capital? Ridiculous. Tell him to cease this nonsense. Isn't there a saying in Fodlan? Something about those with power knowing how to use it? If he's not careful, the goddess will send her saints to smite him. Not that I believe that.
Say, I've come to deliver vegetables we harvested in the village to the monastery's dining hall. Because of the season, I couldn't really pick that much. But I wanted to help you guys out, even just a little bit. We're busily planting seeds, so when things start to grow, I'll be back.
You know when you work your muscles and they start screaming? That means you gotta be nice to them. If your muscles are hungry, you gotta feed them. And let them rest when they're tired. Of course! If my muscles hurt, then I hurt. If they're hungry, well then I'm hungry too. What's with the confused face, Professor? You look like you don't get a word I'm saying.
I see.
The kingdom capital. It's been way too long since I was there last. Oh, Professor, I didn't mean... it's not that I'm looking forward to it or anything. Please don't tease me like that. It's just, when I think of us finally saving everyone in Ferdiad, it makes me a little happy. Okay, maybe a lot happy. The kingdom capital is under the tight control of Cornelia, who was ennobled by the Empire. Judging by what we heard from Lord Rodrigue, it sounds like she's a tyrant. But all of that ends soon. Let's get there quickly.
I agree that we should head for Ferdiad, but let's not forget our search for Lady Rhea. The soldiers from the church are going to set up a base at the Great Bridge of Murder. They'll be able to keep up the search while we head for the kingdom capital.
Say, up until a few decades ago, Ferdiad was a disorderly city. Even the water supply was poorly constructed. As such, it was a hotbed of sickness and disease. The late king hired a researcher named Cornelia. In the space of just a few years, the city was transformed into a place of beauty and order. At the same time, the diseases that had plagued our land loosened their grip, one after another. It was miraculous.
Right.
Dimitri hated the Empire with a fiery passion. At Gronder, driven by fury, he sent many good knights to their doom. Now, he appears to be freed from that hatred. If he can make thoughtful decisions, unswayed by his emotions, he may make a fine king someday. No, they are not. A king must strive to be a king first and a human second.
Say,
Maybe.
Professor!
I don't feel like I can just forget all the awful stuff he's done. But if His Highness is owning up to his past and trying to... I figure I can get... We've been friends since we were kids. I'm gonna be there for him all the way to... Professor, I really caused trouble for you, didn't I? I am also returned. Now, it's time to go to the kingdom capital. I hope that you will let...
How is this? Everyone is saying His Highness is back to his old self, but I do not think that is accurate. What he was until recently is what he had been for as long as I've known him. So tortured by his compassion for the fallen that it had driven. He has always been too kind to be king. He has always felt too much for the weak and the dead. That is exactly why I look up to him.
True. Dimitri's completely changed. Or maybe I should say he's finally back to normal. Either way, I'm glad he's come around to the idea of retaking Ferdiad. With our current troops, there's no way we could handle the Imperial capital. We wouldn't even get past Fort Mercius.
Maybe. Oh, I can still hardly believe we managed to win against numbers like that. Oh, unless the real me is lying dead in Gronder and this is all just a happy dream.
Thank you.
Hello. We buried Lord Rodrigue's body ourselves. There wasn't time to do things properly. It pains me that I was unable to take once this war is over. I'd like to hold a proper funeral for him. For now, we need to focus on taking back Ferdiad. All will be well eventually. I know we can win.
Okay.
Professor!
Definitely.
After that great battle earlier, the balance of power in Fodlan has shifted greatly. To get revenge for all our fallen friends, we'll have to stake our lives on the fight that lies before us.
Oh yeah, guess what I noticed? I can see further than most other people can see. But I can't figure the point of seeing further than an arrow can fly, since I can't shoot what I see. I suppose I could see a whole horde of enemies coming and run away. Thanks, Professor. I think I get it now.
Hello.
Hey, you!
Anyway, I was born and raised in Fargus, but I've never actually been to Ferdiad. Do you think it'll still be cold at this time of year? I can't even imagine. You're right. It's an important battle, so let's...
Really?
So many people died in the battle at Gronder. And here we are, preparing for the next battle as if nothing happened the day before. It's almost easier to think about war as theater, with the stage an entire continent. Something like that. If an accident happens on stage, the next day's performance must be unaffected. Everyone just pretends like everything is fine.
Yes.
Oh, standing face to face with those whom I went to school with. On the field of battle. How inhuman war is.
How horrifying. My heart feels shattered. It is my hope that this war marks the end of such foolish behavior. Singing is...
I never used to care whether I lived or died, but after seeing so much death firsthand, I now realize how precious life. I'm ashamed of how arrogant I was. I never used to care whether I lived or died, but after I'm ashamed.
He'll need to excel as a leader if he's to make up for my old man's death. Though if my father could see Dimitri now, he'd be glad to have made the sacrifice. Don't you dare tell anyone I said that.
Professor, if we're headed to the kingdom capital, that means we're further away from rescuing Lady Rhea. But it can't be helped, can it? Perhaps some people will question this decision, but I trust your judgment. Lady Rhea would want us to help in Ferdiad. She'd scold us if we rescued her and left innocent people suffering.
It seems we are headed for the kingdom capital this month. The Church of Seros stands ready to lend its aid to you and Dimitri. It may be a roundabout route, but I believe this path will still eventually take us to Rhea. Besides, saving the people of Fargus is just what she would want us to do.
What?
Professor.
Fighting with 3 different groups in the mix was as confusing as it was difficult to survive. Enemies and allies dying, one on top of the other. If only I had my infirmary out in Gronder. Maybe I could have saved a few more lives.
Well...
There are stories of heroes' relics 1,000 years ago, of which we have no real evidence today. So many, in fact, that I'm led to wonder if those relics are nothing more than legend, especially since we know of relics like those passed down in the families of the 10 Fodlan and...
There's a school of sorcery in Ferdiad, which is staffed by the top minds of magical research. The study of crests and sorcery should not be separate. I've often thought I should pay them a visit someday. I never imagined I might end up invading the place with an army, though. Not how I imagined it at all.
battle at Gronder Field was gruesome, wasn't it? But perhaps it's irresponsible to look away, to close our eyes to the horrors of war. Thank you. But I think I do, actually. As survivors, we must ensure that all these lives were not lost in vain. May an aid...
I need to be speaking. Taking back the land of home has the most importance. That is why I am fighting. All for my land of home. Actually, there is more. I am also fighting for you. And for everyone here.
Edelgard, Claude, His Highness, all the house leaders from way back when, assembled again at Gronder. I wonder what their thoughts were as they headed out to the battlefield.
I think the Emperor was wounded at Gronder Field. What do you think is going on in the Empire now? The Leicester Alliance has really suffered a blow as well. From now on, we have to pay close attention to how the rest of Fodlan is doing.
I am very grateful to you. I could never have achieved this on my own. It is all thanks to you and Lord Rodrigue. This month, we will invade Ferdiad by way of the Fraldarius domain. Leave the negotiations with House Fraldarius to me. You make ready for the actual battle. It's a tricky business, but we are taking our first steps forward. I have a request. Thank you very much.
I need to be speaking.
Have my gratitude. This month, leave the is a tricky. This month, leave the is a tricky. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ferdiad, huh? I've always wanted to go there. But I'd rather be visiting for fun and during a warmer season. And going into battle? Not exactly an appealing prospect. Hey, I'm just teasing. I'll do what I can to help. I'm just so relieved that Dimitri is his old self again.
This is...
Delicious. this?
Yeah. Eating
This... Right. Then this goes here.
Hello, Raphael. What exactly are you doing with that piece of wood?
Hey, Hilda. I'm just doing this.
With your bare hands. Impressive that just the outer ring is left. It makes quite a nice circle.
Yeah. I just gotta polish it up and paint it. Then the base of the necklace will be ready.
Sorry, did you say necklace?
How's it look? I bet it's the right size, too. And this tree bark smells amazing. Now I just need to carve these boar tusks to hang from it.
Boar tusks?
I almost forgot. I was gonna add these wolf claws, too. And I could even add some color to them.
And wolf claws?
Huh? Is something wrong, Hilda?
That necklace. It has a certain, rustic charm?
You're right. It really does. Want me to make you one while I'm at it?
Oh no, I wouldn't want to trouble you. Besides, I think it would look better on you than on me.
It would definitely look good on me. But this one's actually a birthday present for my little sis.
For your sister? I mean, don't you think she might like something more feminine?
Something cute? What's wrong with something tough and rugged? This necklace is gonna have tusks and claws and stuff.
But girls don't usually go for tusks and claws and stuff. There should be flowers or gems or... Here, I can talk you through it. If you're making a necklace for your sister, you might try putting a pretty little flower in a small crystal bottle and sealing it with resin.
If you say so. But where would I find a flower that was pretty enough?
Oh, honestly, I don't know much about flowers, but I remember hearing about a splendid flower that only blooms near Fodlan's throat.
Fodlan's throat? That's on the eastern edge of the Alliance. I'd have to leave now if I'm gonna make...
Yeah, that does seem like a bit of a stretch. Where'd he go? Well, no matter.
That's right.
Weak.
I will break you!
A threat eliminated.
All in his service!
Luck wasn't with you.
I will break you!
More proof of my loyalty.
No. Oh, stay. How it is my hope.
So many. And here we. It's almost.
I see. The soldier, they'll be able to.
So,
Well, thanks. This... You...
You're...
I'm a quick.
There's something I'd like to ask you. Oh, of course.
Professor. Thank you.
Let us do this together.
Right. We will make this quick.
I will
That worked out well.
Growths.
I'm starting to...
Another gain.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. What's my strategy? Leave it to me. What's the plan? On to the next battle. Let's finish this! You knew the odds. I expect no less.
I'd be honored.
At your service.
You're a big help. I won't falter.
I am prepared.
Ready when you are.
I'll cut through.
Ready for anything.
I'm your girl. I'm nobody's fool.
Is that it? Don't bother haunting me. Pathetic. All in his service! I'll cut a path for His Highness.
I wield...
You fought well.
Reassuring.
I'm still here.
My duty is your death.
It was the only way. Without... Make...
All is going to plan.
I won't falter. Thanks so much. I'm still here.
I'm glad I can count on you.
for our future. Need to...
I'd be honored.
I am prepared. A threat eliminated.
I'll cut through. You fought well.
What's my strategy? I must lead them well. What's the plan? Don't bother haunting me.
I'm your girl.
Can't afford to lose.
Ready for anything.
Thanks.
Ready when you are. It is done. Onward.
At your service.
Leave it to me.
It was meant to be.
Is that it? You knew the odds. I swear it wasn't in vain.
They said...
I was just stronger.
More proof of my loyalty.
I shall not stray.
must.
A tragic end.
I could learn from that.
I will see this war through.
Thank you so much. I have gratitude. Thanks so much.
I am grateful.
I'll cut through.
Leave it to me.
On my honor!
I won't stop here. Only...
I am prepared.
I will break!
Had to be done. The better.
I'm your girl.
Ready for anything.
Ready when you are. I can do no less. My duty is your death.
I'd be honored.
One to remember.
What's my strategy? What's the plan? You knew the odds.
At your service.
If I live, fight. Continuing to... This could turn the tides. In the name of justice!
was the only way. Without...
Let's finish this! I was just stronger.
Impressive.
You're done! Can't afford to lose.
Knew you could do it. A lucky break.
I aim for greatness.
My...
This is the cost of war. I'll cut you down!
It was meant to be.
It won't be in vain.
Thank you so much. I have gratitude. Thanks so much.
I am grateful.
I thank you. This...
No.
Professor.
Here is the result.
Perhaps I'll